good to see everyone here this evening. Should have a nice meeting. Should go quickly. And appreciate everybody coming out. Some important things to do tonight, though. We're going to start our meeting off with our opening prayer by Vice Mayor Adam Dixon.
Let us all pray. Dear God, we thank you for just being so good and being so kind to us, your people. God, extending to us mercy, extending to us grace. God, we realize each passing day, Lord, as we get a little more age on us, that we're not worthy. Actually, we're fractured, frail people coming to a whole and righteous God. And we just appreciate you for the kindness that you extend to us from day to day, the blessings that you bestow on us from day to day. And God, the example that you show us of love, of mercy, decency, warmth, and kindness, God, we have so much to be grateful for. And so, God, while we have a little time on this earth, God, as you have been loving to us, let us love. And God, as you have been gracious to us, let us extend grace. God, as you have been merciful to us, let us extend mercy. God, let us extend various virtues that are very intrinsic but totally belong to you. God, do pray, Lord, that you bless our neighbors, bless our friends, bless our acquaintances. God, bless this board and our deliberations. May everything be to your glory. God, we ask that you continue to watch over this town staff, these servants, that God make this town so special and so rich and real. God, we ask that your will be done on tonight. We ask it in your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Adam. Ruth, who do you have to lead the pledge? All right.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ruth. All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Vest,
Here.
Alderman Causey,
Here.
Alderman Countermine,
Here.
Alderman Dixon,
Here.
Alderman Wolf, absent.
All right. We'll move right into our consent agenda. Alderman, is anything on there you wish to have removed to discuss? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Got a motion to approve from Alderman Countermine, a second from Alderman Dixon. Any discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Alderman Causey,
Aye.
Alderman Countermine, Alderman Dixon,
Aye.
and Alderman Wolf.
All right, motion carried. Just a couple of things in there was just some special events we just approved. You got the Star Wars Day on May 4th. I think that was our first time we did that was great. And so expect big things out of that. At the Garden Gala, the Pioneer Pride 5K we've done for so many years, always a good thing. And then the farm to table dinner was in there. And also, I want to appreciate the staff working to get some brush removed from the Jackson Heights apartment complex. During the storm, they had a lot of brush created down there, and where it was located wasn't necessarily somewhere we could necessarily go to remove it. But with staff giving us that approval, we can get that cleaned up for them down there. So I appreciate them working on it. All right, we're going to move into our regular agenda. First item on that's our financial report, and things appear to be in order there. I noticed our sales tax collections for the month of December was the highest in the history of our town, surpassing the November before it. So it's really close right there and surpassed the December of 2022. So things are still healthy. But, Madam Recorder, is there anything else you want to bring up about our financial report?
Well, that was a good report on sales tax. Just one other thing, because property tax is also a large component of our revenues. And I'm happy to say that through the final due date of February 29th, that we had collected all but 7.3% of our property taxes for the year. That compares to this time last year, we still had 8.5% outstanding. So everybody did a really good job of coming in and paying their property taxes. I do want to remind everybody that the 2022 property taxes, personal and real, will be turned over to Chancery Court on April 1st. So it would be in everyone's best interest who still owe 2022 taxes to get those paid prior to April 1st. After they get turned over to Chancery Court, there are a lot of fees that get attached from the clerk and master's office, and makes it a little more difficult to take care of those after April 1st.
Thank you, Janet. Just one thing that stood out to me, and this was our solid waste fund. This same period last year in February run a deficit of 41,000, and this current year for the same month we were on the plus side about 7, so that was good to see. But even at that, year to date, solid waste was running the negative last year. This year on the plus side about 12 to 13%. So that's good to see. Is part of that due to the changeover from recycling not taking a loss in that area?
Part of it is the increase in the rates that have helped to cover some of those deficits from
Very
prior
good.
years.
That's how you eliminate
Yeah.
the deficits. Appreciate that. Alderman, any other questions? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion to approve from Alderman Causey.
Second.
Got a second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote. Madam Recorder?
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
And Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Now we'll move into communication with myself. Just a couple of things. One, we've got Arbor Day celebration coming up. That's going to be April 26th at 11 a.m. over at the library garden. So, plan that, please. Arbor Days with us being a tree city, that's always an important day for the town. Also want to talk about our public safety. I've been reading their stats much closer here lately, and just noticed for the month of February issued 169 speeding tickets, and when you factor in, we've got probably well over 1,000,005 cars, coming through Jonesborough. It does irk me, guess you could say, when people say we're a speed trap, but only 169 speeding violations when there's a lot more going on. Sometimes I think we need to be seeing a bigger number there, but 169, giving out 258 warnings, which I'm okay with that. That's good. But our public safety officers have their hands full with that amount of traffic coming through our town, so we certainly appreciate them. 41 arrests as well last month, and we had 18 crashes, most of those been on Jackson Boulevard, and that's about that's a lot of crashes coming through our little town, about one every other day, I guess. So appreciate public safety. Craig, have we got an update on that recycling location of a container? I know you got the pad built for that. Have we made any progress on getting a location for cardboard recycling?
The pad is ready. It has been for some time. We had a Zoom meeting with some individuals from Eastman who are trying to somewhat help the town with recycling, and they had advised us that there was another local governing body that was interested in taking our recycling once we could start receiving it again, because we're still in a position to where we can't bale it. So if you can't bale it, you can't sell it. But they were willing to take it. So Mr. Rosenoff and myself have tried to make contact with them to see whether, in fact, they were interested in it. If not, then we would need to go out to a third-party vendor to see if someone else would be interested in taking their plastics and their cardboard, once we open up that first convenience center, and hope to at least open up a second one on the east end of town. So that's a long way to say that we're working on it,
Okay.
but we're trying to find someone that will take the recycling once we get the convenience center in place.
All right, very good. Just a second, we got a lot of things done in February. The recreation department and a lot of volunteers were down at Persimmon Ridge Park, clearing off the trail down there with all the trees that were falling. So they've been doing that, I guess, for many months, and finally got that completely cleared. So appreciate staff and the volunteers that helped in that area. And also, the staff responded quickly to get the crosswalk, painted and signed better up at the senior center. Appreciate that. And the footbridge down at Barkley Creek, I guess, was destroyed in a storm, and we've got that almost completely repaired.
The construction of the footbridge is done. I had a lengthy meeting with Malcolm this morning. The trail between the two bridges at Barkley Creek, there's one section that tree roots have done quite a bit of damage to. Since we're gonna have to take that small paver on the back side of the park to pave the approach to the new approach to the bridge, we're gonna go ahead and make a repair in that one section and then just resurface that walking trail there in Barkley Creek from bridge to bridge, since we're gonna be there paving anyway. So we hope to have Barkley Creek finished by the end of this week.
I appreciate it, Craig. Craig, I'll ask you this, just reading through the fire department's report, they had 56 calls, I guess, last month. Is there a way for us, it might be in there, maybe I missed it, how we could break that down between calls that they responded to within our city limits and how many they responded to out into the county? Can we have a breakdown on that?
I don't have the breakdown in front of me because they typically just do the number of calls, but I can instruct the fire chief tomorrow to start giving us that information in the monthly report that tells us, how many are in the city and how many are in the county. We now have a couple of EMTs that's in the fire department, and we do quite a few assist medical calls that are mostly in the city. So, we have the fire calls, a lot of which are more so in the county, but a lot of our calls in the city are assisting medical or responding to auto accidents and that kind of thing. But I can have the fire chief just start breaking that down.
That'd be interesting
in his
to see.
monthly report.
Yeah. All right, appreciate
And
that.
I have those numbers for 22 and 23 that I could share with the board at least,
Okay.
what they are to date, and then we can have them start doing the reports next month.
Sounds good.
Breaking it down.
All right, last thing I've got is Employee of the Month, and Sheila Watson.
Didn't see that one coming. I hope.
Surprise!
We paid so many people off on this one.
I knew this was gonna be a good one, because there's a lot of good things said about you in here, so it might take me about 10 minutes to read all this.
I was told she wasn't going to be here. I was going to accept it on her behalf, but
I would like to nominate Sheila Watson for the distinction and honor of Employee of the Month for March 2024. Sheila's job title is listed as HR Accounts Payable Clerk. Everyone knows of one very important job she performs every other week, payroll. But her duties reach much further and wider than that important task. Sheila dutifully and efficiently performs all human resource duties as well, which is likely a job not in her job description if it's sales. She onboards new hires and many facets of that process, setting up health assessments, initial background checks, compiling payroll, information, which includes many complex items these days, as well as setting up the new hire for a variety of health insurance options. Beyond the typical HR duties, look at all of that. She's busy. Sheila is also a helping hand and a friendly face to employees with insurance concerns and changes, payroll issues, retirement, and other issues employees need assistance with. Sheila is also an important part when employees exit the town. Aside from payroll and HR tasks, Sheila performs accounts payable duties. Most times this involves chasing down charges and identifying which department initiated the charge. With the town having many different departments and vendors, this detective work can be quite involved and quite the task. Moreover, during the past few months, the town has been integrating an entirely new accounting and payroll software system. Sheila has had the task of learning the complex new software while maintaining and using the old software program, so the bills got paid as well as the employees get paid. So for some time, both the new and old accounting and payroll systems operated together, obviously adding complexity to Sheila's workday. By taking only a glance and the new look of the pay stubs, one can easily see the tip of the iceberg of these new accounting systems. Sheila has been much involved in the implementation of the new system, working tirelessly and seamlessly behind the scenes. Sheila's relentless pursuit of excellence in all her duties, dedication to her employer and to her employees, and her patience and specifically in dealing with vendors and accounts payable make her an employee that the town should count as truly valuable. For those reasons, they nominate you employee of the month.
Hear, hear.
When you mentioned detective work, I knew it was Malcolm,
Yeah.
because I call on him to help me.
Yeah.
We're great detectives together. Well, that was lovely, and I appreciate that very much.
So we appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very
Sheila.
much.
Way to go, Sheila.
Thank
You're
you. All right, that's all I've got.
Everybody got her.
And now we move into citizens' comments, and we always have speakers up here. If you're a resident of our town, one of our water users, or a business owner, we welcome you to come up and to address the town. And first person up is Stephen Callahan.
Good evening.
Good to see you.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
We had a lot of good times in this room. Come on, Terry, you can laugh. But yeah, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. Really, we've got some really great news about Tennessee Hills being accepted to the Tennessee Whiskey Trail. It's a monumental milestone for our company. Doesn't seem like that long ago, but almost a decade, maybe over a decade now, I was standing before you guys, this very board, asking for you to approve our zoning overlay for Tennessee Hills to open. And as I think about, how we've gained the success that we've had over the last decade and the hundreds of thousands of visitors that have came through our doors, it's something that I'm very proud of. Especially, I'm a son of Jonesborough, much like you, and my great grandfather fought in the Revolutionary War, the Battle of Kings Mountain. He was an officer there, and then after the war, he moved to the Nolechucky River and settled there with John Sevier, and which is coincidentally where I grew up, and my brother and I still own the family farm today. And so our roots are very deep in this region. And, I know we've had kind of our bumps in the road over the last couple of years. But I'm very proud of the success that Tennessee Hills has been able to achieve. It's hard work, perseverance, great vision, and a really great team. We're pushing 40 employees now. And then by the time we get Bristol open, we'll have right at about 70 employees. And it all started right here in Jonesborough. And so being accepted as part of the Tennessee Whiskey Trail is major. It's not only major for Tennessee Hills, but it's also major for Jonesborough. And if you look at the handout that I gave you guys there, in 2022, the Tennessee Distillers Guild did a study, and essentially the Tennessee Whiskey Trail had over 8 million visitors a year. Which is phenomenal when you compare that to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, which was founded in 1999 compared to 2017 in Tennessee. They see about a little over 12 million visitors a year. So we're catching up to them very quick. We've got $3.45 billion in economic impact for the state of Tennessee. Visitors in Tennessee Distillery spent a little over $2 billion. compared to Kentucky, the economic impact is about $9 billion. So we're on the hills, and you know, people like us, and us, Tennessee Hills, and the town of Jonesborough, that is really tapping in to the rich culture of whiskey making that we have, not only in Tennessee, but specifically this area with our Scotch and Irish ancestry. It's major, and what I would really like to ask you guys to do tonight is, I'm excited for Tennessee Hills, but I'm also excited for Jonesborough. And as we open in Bristol, combined with our other location at Johnson City, we hope to, and Lost State Distillery in Bristol as well, they're on the trail. We hope to cast a big net and really catch as many folks as possible. We're on the northeastern part of the state, so we're kind of the gateway to the trail. And I would love nothing more for Jonesborough to help us get behind the initiative. I think it's going to help Tennessee Hills thrive, but also I think it's going to help downtown businesses thrive as well. And, you know, when Jessica and I first started Tennessee Hills at 25 years old, we slept on the floor on an air mattress. We could barely pay our bills. You guys have seen our journey. But for businesses that are just starting out in downtown Jonesborough, having something like this so that they don't have to add spend and marketing dollars, this is a major support for them to help get their business off the ground, and not only get off the ground but thrive. And so I would really appreciate your support. I didn't know it, but I saw on the agenda on item 7B tonight, it's talking about the pamphlet, I believe. Cameo, is that right? The visitor's guide. I think it's very imperative that we kind of latch on to that. You know, I know Jonesborough is the home of the International Storytelling Center, but it's a huge feather in our cap to be this close to the northeastern Tennessee region and kind of be the trailhead for Tennessee whiskey. And, you know, rising tides floats all ship, and I appreciate you very much.
How long has Tennessee had a whiskey trail?
We started in 2017.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so I think, you know, we're on a mission right now to really elevate Tennessee whiskey in a way that bourbon hasn't been elevated in Kentucky. And one fact that kind of wowed me a little bit is, you know, Kentucky is the 33rd most visited state in the country, and Tennessee's number 11th. And, you know, tourism and agriculture are, you know, one of our number 1 and 2 industries. And Tennessee distilleries touch both of those industries. And, you know, I think with help like you guys and some other municipalities, I think we're literally leaving billions of dollars on the table. So it would mean the world to me. And, you know, I love to be able to come back to Jonesborough one day. And I love Jonesborough. I know we've had our differences at times. But I joke with my wife, Jessica, I said, you know, one day when I pass away, you can cut a hole in the floor and bury me in the bar down there. So, but
We appreciate
very proud
you.
to be from Jonesborough, and thank you for your support, and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. Thank you. I'm sure Cameo will look for opportunities there. It's certainly want to take advantage of that. Marcy.
This was not planned.
Got the old gang back.
Marcy Hawley, 114 East Woodrow Avenue, Jonesborough. And the only reason I was here tonight was to tell you all about a contest I just came across by accident. USA Today is having a contest right now for the 10 best historic small towns. We have 19 more days. You can vote every day. And it would just, you would go to USA Today 10 best. So, of course, we know we have the best small town in America.
That's right.
And congratulations for the Whiskey Trail, considering that organization 4 or 5 years ago did not give a glowing report of Tennessee Hills. So it's great that they've done their homework and they've changed their opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. Linda and Brenda. Appreciate you all coming tonight.
Thank you. This is Brenda Russell. And I'm Linda Poland, and I've known most of you for a long time. And we've come to talk to you about the National Day of Prayer. Last year in May, I was looking for where the National Day of Prayer was going to take place because it had not taken place because of COVID. And I walked all over the town, I talked to people and everything, and you know, the pastor says the churches will be open. I remember when I went to work for the town in 1991 that there was a huge gathering on the courthouse steps. And Mrs. Broyles was usually the one that got things going and got everybody excited about it. And the pastors came out and they would speak, and the musicians would come out and the choirs, and we had some people come from the state and talk, and we prayed. We prayed for the nation, we prayed for the state, we prayed for our towns and everything, and it was dwindling. So I met Brenda by looking for prayer, you know. And we said we took each other's phone numbers. And so we're here today, and she was much more organized in getting the rules and the regulations. I'm just the mouth that talks. And Brenda?
Okay, what we would like, we have already talked with the county commission and, or commissioner, which,
Okay.
we have been given permission to hold a National Day of Prayer event at the courthouse in Jonesborough. And we just wanted to inform the city of Jonesborough that that's what our intentions are, is to have a National Day of Prayer event May 2nd of this year. Right as it is now, we plan on from starting at noon. We will have some local ministers praying for the town, the state, the businesses, families, media. There's 7 different categories that we pray for in the National Day of Prayer, but that's simply what we're going to do is pray. We are discussing, and we're hoping to have an event either at Lincoln Park or someplace else later in the afternoon with music and speakers. There will be absolutely nothing
Storytellers.
storytellers. There will be absolutely nothing political being said. It is simply praying to God to heal our nation, and our nation certainly needs healing.
Absolutely.
So why we're here today is we're here to ask for y'all's blessings. And we might be coming and tapping on some shoulders and asking you to speak too. So it's simple, it's direct, it's about praying for our town, and hope y'all will join us May 2nd.
You'll be using the courthouse steps. Is that where you plan to start right there?
Yes, I've
in the
already
sidewalk?
talked to
Okay.
the county
Very good.
mayor.
Are you looking to use the amphitheater in Lincoln Park?
That's what we hope to do.
Okay.
That's what we've talked to.
Well, I'm Glenn. Make sure. Yeah. Oh. There's a lot of different exit doors in this building. Give me a call tomorrow, and I'll make sure to navigate that for you for May.
Because we've been talking to the senior center,
Yeah.
and so
Okay.
we have an end, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you all. All right, appreciate that, everyone. Now we'll move into Alderman communications. Alderman, anything you want to share with the town? Terry?
Go Bucks tonight.
Oh, yep. Big rally, been down 20 and come back and won that game. They didn't shoot the ball very well, but they were scrappy and rebounded and played good defense. Adam, you got anything?
Town, McKinney Center hosted an event in February, the decade anniversary of the McKinney Center. Well-attended activity, and appreciate you for saying a few words, and just a really nice event. Glad to see the McKinney Center is alive and thriving, and part of our arts as economic development model, and doing well.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Virginia, you got anything you want to share? All right. Now we'll move into town attorney comments. Jim?
There's the only thing, I need to meet with you all at the conclusion of the meeting tonight in executive session
Okay.
regarding some updates on Tennessee Hill's lawsuit against Jonesborough.
All right, we'll be doing that right after we adjourn. All right, we'll move into, there's no old business tonight. Must have knocked all that out last month. Now we'll move into new business. Discussion and possible action concerning approval of a short form of an agreement between the town of Jonesborough and GRW Engineers to provide services for the water system. And certainly looks like this is involved in some of the lines we're laying out into the county. Certainly something that we need to be involved in. Glenn, you have anything you want to address there?
No, probably just, one thing about working with the county has been great. The county water line extension project has just been every year is doing fantastic, bringing water to underserved areas. So as part of that and ARP funding, there's other opportunities through TDEC, which basically discussed a little bit more on the infrastructure side of water lines. So in the one paragraph in the background, I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that this has to do with Jonesborough's water system and includes the installation of a water booster station on Highway 81 North and improvements to Bumpus Cove and Charlie Hicks booster stations. So that puts us in a much better modernized position with our booster stations.
Absolutely. Alderman, any questions, comments?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve from Alderman Countermine,
I'll second.
second from Alderman Dixon. Any other questions? All right, call for the vote, please.
Alderman Causey?
Aye.
Alderman Countermine?
Aye.
Alderman Dixon?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Now we'll move into discussion and possible action concerning approval of a proposal for the design and printing of the historic Jonesborough Visitors Guide. Looks like Cameo and her team did a good job there putting all this together. Alderman, you got any questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
I would like to say, Mayor, that, of course, very much supported. On page 11, I got the copy here of the visitor's guide, and very happy to see that on page 11, Depot Street Brewery and Tennessee Hills is recognized. So work's already been done, and we know that Cameo and team will do a great job in enhancing the good work that's already been done. So.
Very good. Thank you, Ed, for pointing that out.
Move to approve.
All right. Motion to approve from Alderman Dixon,
Second.
second from Alderman Causey. Any other questions? Call for the vote, please.
Alderman Causey?
Aye.
Alderman Countermine?
Aye.
Alderman Dixon?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. It's like Cameo and her team's been busy down there. This is going to be a great little project here. It's a discussion and possible action concerning approval of the award of the Jackson Theater Video Development Project, and looks like it's 4 videos in there. A video of 15-minute and 10-minute and 8-minute options, and you got a 2.5-minute trailer, a 30-second video, and then a shorter 15-second one. So looks like we're covering all our bases there to hit all the areas of promotion that we'll need. Cameos, anything you want to talk about here?
Sure. So with this, the Jackson Theater is a big project for us and will be a big milestone for tourism. So we want to kick it off the right way and have a short film to really talk about the stories of the Jackson Theater. So many of you guys here even have really sweet memories of the Jackson. So we want to be able to depict that and do some reenactments with the longer video, but then we want something a little shorter to show before each performance, and then also have 2 pieces that we can use more as a marketing brand video.
Excellent ideas.
Yep.
Can I answer any questions about it?
I hope Virginia's got a story to tell.
I do.
I know she does.
That was my first date with my husband
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Don't give it away yet. Gotta wait and watch the video.
The rest of it's a secret.
We're not going to reenact that, though, because I think he left you right in the middle of it, didn't he? To go to work? All right. Alderman, any other questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Motion to approve from Alderman Causey.
Second.
Second from Alderman Countermine. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Alderman Causey?
Aye.
Alderman Countermine?
Aye.
Alderman Dixon?
Aye.
All right.
Mayor, I did want to add that very proud of marketing team, visitor center, working with McKinney Center folks, and it's been a great collaborative team effort. So I think ultimately the product will be great, providing great assistance from who we awarded the bid to. So thanks to Cameo for pulling all that together.
Very good. I want to say that the Jackson Theater's looking really, really good. I put some pictures out there, and people go crazy over them. And I think we got Dockery floor covering in there now, laying the carpet. And it's kind of like when you're building a home. Once you start getting the flooring down there, thanks to Kennedy, to all come together right after that. So it's exciting to see. We got a little bit of work ourselves outside the theater with our sidewalks and stuff like that. But I think in the next 60 days, you'll see a lot of action down there. And it's going to be exciting. All right, now we're going to move into discussion and possible action concerning approval of the following bids. Craig, you want to get up and speak to this? We've always saved some money, I think, contracting this mowing out. And one thing I think we're wanting to do here this year, it's been a kind of a passion of mine, is making sure when we have these new athletic fields over at Tiger Park for the students over there and for our youth leagues, soccer fields. And then down at Persimmon Ridge Park, we've got 4 nice fields down there, and I've always felt like we needed to elevate those some. And we're hoping, through this process of that Glenn and Craig have worked on, that we can do that. Craig, what's your wishes here? I know you got some more.
Well, a couple of things. One is, initially we were concerned about the increase this calendar year over last calendar year, but we also added some very large areas in there. So if you looked at what we bid out this year compared to what we bid out last year, it was really only a $10,300 increase, and that was really not bad based on the
It's great.
current economy and so on and so forth. With that being said, we also have a lot of new athletic areas at the Jonesborough K-8 school. Some of those areas, of course, we're still trying to get a good strong stand of grass on, and there are athletic fields typically require a lot more attention than just regular mowing. Zero turns, if they use those, they tend to tear the grassy areas up when they're making the turns and that kind of thing. And the athletic fields at the elementary school as well as Persimmon Ridge Park was almost 29,000 in that increase. So I would just like to ask the board maybe to consider approving the mowing bids for the 24 calendar year, with the exception of pulling the 2 athletic areas at the elementary school and Persimmon Ridge, and maybe let us negotiate with a couple of vendors, maybe even talk with them about getting some someone that can that we can go to, such as references of other athletic facilities and things like that they have taken care of. We can't really afford to mess this up at this point. And then, of course, the other thing too is, of the vendors that actually submitted quotes, half the vendors didn't even submit a quote on those athletic facilities. I think we can probably do it for less money and guarantee that we have the quality that we want as well, if we're allowed to maybe contact a couple of more vendors specifically just for those 2 athletic fields. So again, I would just request or recommend that we approve the mowing bids minus the athletic facilities at Jonesborough School and the athletic facilities at Persimmon Ridge Park, if that would be agreeable or possible, Mayor.
I agree with that. As part of that motion, can we not put it to work? We really need to start mowing and caring for those fields quickly. can we put it in there that yourself or Glenn can approve that contract that we're kind of negotiating with without having to come back to the board?
I would prefer it be Glenn since he's the money.
Yeah, I think, yeah, just, we'll put it on Craig if it goes bad, but no, I'd be happy to. I think it's a very good plan. We have sensitive areas now, like the ball fields and athletic fields, so I think it's a good plan. Also, just by our purchasing policy, I would just follow that, so, you know, different ways of quoting and bidding, so I think, especially if it comes under a certain amount, I'd be very comfortable with working through it.
Well, and this is right now really the opportune time to get something done over there, so we'll do that. Alderman, you can hear the recommendation is to approve the mowing bids with the exception, we're gonna pull out the Jonesborough School athletic fields, which is the baseball, softball fields, and football fields, and then pull out the Persimmon Ridge Park ball fields. And we'll allow Glenn to negotiate with someone on that and hopefully save some money and keep it under our purchasing policy.
Will our staff still line the fields?
Yes, sir. We will still be responsible for lining the fields. And then one of the other things too, there are still some areas at the K-8 school that we're having to overseed. So again, there may be a delay even in the non-athletic areas at the school where we may maintain those for a little bit to try to get the overseeding to establish before they get on it with these large commercial mowers and that kind of thing. So I think all in all, that at the end of this current fiscal year, those numbers will be a little bit lower, but I still feel like that we can also lower our overall mowing bid as well.
Will part of the Parks and Recreation reorganization have somebody that monitors and makes sure that the mowing is done correctly?
That is a priority both of Glenn's and myself, is that we have someone, for years it's kind of been monitoring by committee, you know, but it's been more of Rachel monitoring some of it, myself monitoring some of it, the Park and Rec director monitoring some of it. Part of this open space coordinator is, you know, in the interviews, Glenn and I intend to make sure they understand that a big part of what they're going to do is monitor some of these contracted services that we have in recreation, that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm constantly monitoring what they're doing on 11E just to make sure that they're putting up the proper signage and that they have on the TDOT mandated traffic vests and that kind of thing. And we're constantly chasing that. So this new position, that would be one of their priorities during the contracted mowing and landscape season.
Now, in the mowing, does that include weed eating?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Because I know like at Persimmon Ridge, up to a couple of years ago, they used to keep that creek right by the ball fields all the way down to the creek, and kids would go down there and play, and now you can't even get near the creek because and I don't know if whoever's gonna be doing that will add that or not, but I think it would be good. It doesn't look good at all.
I don't want to tell you wrong. I think there was some discussion about that stream bank down there as far as us not actually weed eating all the way to the creek by the state. Again, I don't want to tell you wrong. I will follow up on that to make sure. I would never tell you something that was absolutely incorrect, but I'm thinking that at some point they kind of said we would prefer you not be weed eating all the way down to the water.
I think that's right, and just knowing from playing ball, when you get a foul ball, if it's mowed down there, right down to the creek, that ball just goes right in there. So at least you got a little bit of growth there. It might stop a few baseballs.
Right.
But we'll check on that, but sometimes our creeks do have to have a certain buffer from refraining from
Like
taking
over
it
by
down.
Mill Spring Park, though, we go right down to
Yeah, we'll check on that. The other thing is that we do have Rachel highly involved over at the school site, so she's our eyes and ears on as Craig was talking about, the overseeding and fertilizing, things like that, and being ready when they're ready to mow. So we do have boots on the ground at the school site.
Thank you. All right, if I can
Is
get-
this cost within the budget?
The mowing? Yes, ma'am, this is actually a budgeted item in Park and Recreation.
Okay.
I think there's typically around, this is a similar budget item as our Wetlands Water Park, because we budget, I think, 95,000 in this mowing line item, and I'm pretty sure there's like maybe 18 mowing cycles from July to fall, and then 15 or 16 from typically the middle of March to June 30. So this falls within that budgeted line item in Park and Recreation.
We also added, I can't remember if it's called K through 8 or school K through 8, but there is also another expense line item that is specifically to the school, which could be mowing, it could be landscaping. So there's actually, I can't remember how much, but quite a bit of funds. Is it 125? $125,000 additional line item for the K through 8 school. That's through June.
Any other questions? Good. All right, so if everyone's clear, if I can get a motion to approve the mowing bids with the exception of pulling out the athletic fields at the new Jonesborough School and the Park and Rec, or Persimmon Ridge Park ball fields, and allow Glenn to explore that this week and get hopefully something approved to save a little money there and do a little bit better job than what we've done, so. Got a motion to approve from Alderman Dixon.
Second.
Got a second from Alderman Countermine. Any other discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Now, also as part of that is a landscape maintenance plan, and I know this is something we want to make sure that we're maintaining all these parks that we have. We've got a lot of landscaped areas. Lincoln Park's a good example of that. It's a beautiful park up there, and we've got to make sure we don't necessarily have a huge staff to take care of some of these areas. So I think Glenn and Craig has worked on this.
Yeah, had a lot of original help from Rachel. Did a great job helping put it together. And, in putting it together, when you see 16 separate locations that were responsible for landscaping, and as Craig was talking about, when you add the school project, which is a unbelievable and great project, that's 48.5 acres of land inside the city limits, which is a huge bonus. The Tiger Park being put in, so there's all great things, but at the same time, it did open up what we call the open space maintenance. And as we, I don't want to say that we're necessarily understaffed, but we are in Parks and Rec, and we've talked about that for a while, and there's a structural or reorganizational kind of plan to upstaff that department, which is going to take a little bit of time. We do have an interview for open space position. We're hopeful in that, someone who will be paying attention. So what happens is I think Craig was actually being very diplomatic. I'm usually getting complaint-based assessments of our open space areas. And so looking at 16 different locations, there was the idea of dividing and conquering, which of course in the fiscal year it would be basically a 9-month period of time. So you'd have from March through June, and then that's 4 months, and then I'm forgetting my months. We're 4 months of this fiscal year and 5 months for next fiscal year, July, August, September, October, November. So looking at this divide and conquer strategy, and honestly less stress on the current 3 employees taking care of the town-wide, we looked at the strategy of using contractors, and that's why we bid this landscaping out. And then also, once it came in, looking at the funding mechanisms and looking at the 2 fiscal years and thinking that there's a responsibility that we think that we can contract 6 out of the 16 locations, and then the other 10 be the responsibility of town staff. Again, the hope is once we hire someone for open space, they can definitely assess the rest of the locations. We do have sufficient funds, whether or not we'll talk about the monthly county funds that we receive. We also have additional funds that were put into the parks budget, as we said, $125,000. And so we believe we have sufficient funds to do both. In my recommendation, I talked about 3 areas, but after talking with staff several times, we looked at the potential of what I provided you, those highlighted areas. And a lot of it is having to do, I want to say foot traffic, a lot of it is sensitive areas, but a lot of it is really where people are spending a lot of their times. So one of the introductions that I wanted to do on top of the other 3 that were in the recommendation was Wetlands Water Park, Lincoln Park, and Jonesborough Senior Center. And those 2 mostly because obviously they're contiguous and we can have boots on the ground there. So at the end of the day, we're looking at Wetlands Water Park, medians on Highway 11E from city limits to city limits, Jonesborough Visitor Center Town Hall, Jonesborough Senior Center, Lincoln Park, and Jonesborough Elementary School Tiger Park. And total highlighted areas, if we were to contract those landscapings, would be $81,250 for 9 months of service. Will this be a long-term contractual basis? I don't know. I do believe as we upstaff, we'll have a better handle on what town can do versus contracting. Just to go back on the mowing bids, I did mention in there also assessing this year as we do upstaff to see what we might be able to do. I think the splitting of the 2 fiscal years is the biggest thing that probably helps us to balance the budget year to year, so it's not a big hit. If it's 110, it's really 40, 70 kind of thing. So that was the thing. I mean, basically, I know I keep saying it, but divide and conquer strategy to keep our open space locations looking good for the general public.
You describe, the landscaping. I'm not reading through here careful enough. What, is this just pulling weeds, putting down mulch? What's all involved in what
Yeah.
we're paying for here?
So each area has a description. You've got weed control, you have edging, staking, pruning, monitoring, maintaining plant health, maintaining mulch appearance, scheduling and overseeing of the mulch applications, litter, dog waste, advising on landscaping design and improvements. And then when you get into, let's just say like Wetlands Water Park, then there's a brief description. Just as an example, all landscape medians and parking lot area from the beginning of the brick sign at the entrance to Wetlands parking lot down to the lower parking lot, around the dumpsters, all landscape spaces inside the Wetlands Water Park. And each one has a description of maintaining them to the highest level.
So we'll have mowers mowing, and then we'll have
Yeah.
these people coming back behind them.
Yeah. Well, not back behind,
Not-
but at the same time, really. Because landscaping is different than mowing.
So they'd be working hand in hand, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's maintaining your flowers and your trees and your brush and, the
One-
shrubs.
One thing I would hope, I think we did a good job, our staff did, and under Craig and Glenn's leadership of kind of simplifying our landscaping down Boone Street, down to the visitor center. And maybe these guys, as they're doing this landscaping, they could simplify some of these areas to where it's not so hard to maintain. And if we staff up, maybe this is not quite the expense in the future as it might be this first year. But, Tiger Park over there with the school, we do have a beautiful courtyard there. We've got to make sure we maintain. And we put, I forgot how many trees out over there. So there's a lot of them, I noticed, from storms leaning, they need to be staked and stuff. So we need to make sure.
They've worked on, staking them, but you're
Yeah,
right.
so with this first year, I can see this, but hopefully, we can whittle this down a little bit going into the future, but I certainly would support it right now.
One of the other things too, Mayor and Ms. Rosenhoff and I have talked about it, bit is, we did some really good upgrades last year to Golden Oak, and was even able to eliminate some of the landscape areas that was such a maintenance nightmare with some sod and so on. I'm really hopeful and trying hard to do the same thing this year with doing some upgrades to Depot Street Park and Stage Road Park. So it was another one of those, maybe not getting the landscapers to do work on those two parks this year, hoping we can get those upgrades done similar to what we did at Depot, or at Golden Oak.
Oh, very good. Alderman, any other questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
So the motion would be for the 81,250 instead of the 51,565?
Yes. Any other discussion?
Well, I think it's important to keep our town really looking beautiful, and landscaping is a big part of that, so I'll move to approve.
Motion to approve from Alderman Countermine,
I'll second, Mayor.
and a second from Alderman Dixon. Any other discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Counterman. Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Last thing on our agenda is discussion and possible action concerning the removal of the school zone light on East Jackson Boulevard. Certainly need to do that, and I think that's certainly helped traffic flow up 11E much quicker to work now, so Alderman, what's your wishes there? Got a motion to approve from Alderman Dixon?
Second.
Second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Jim?
Mayor, I would mention one thing, that prior to them moving Midway and possibly Asbury to the elementary school site, we'll need to make sure that we probably have to take the lead on them moving that entrance over to the road there by Powell's. Because if that road opens up onto 11E, we're probably gonna be faced with paying to put this back up. That's gotta be done before they start moving kids in there. My understanding of the requirements of the school zone. 'Cause there will be kids going to school in that building.
Okay. In the elementary
In the
zone?
round
Elementary,
Yeah.
yeah. So they're supposed to take that front entrance to the elementary that comes down to 11E and turn it and go into that roadway. And I think that will alleviate any need for a school zone there.
Okay, that'd be ideal.
But I don't
Could we just add to pay attention to that before we, Permanently remove?
Any indication that the county or and it's really the school system is moving that direction yet. So I think we might have to take that up and sort of push that forward a little bit.
Okay. Well, as part of the motion, we can make sure staff checks with the school board before we move forward on removing it. Is that fine?
we can do that.
Or maybe remove it and then push forward so that
Okay.
it's gone.
Yeah.
We're done. We're not going back to that, because otherwise you make it ask to wait or to leave it.
Okay.
I don't think,
Let's go with the
town-
remove and push forward.
A major reason, and I've said this to many
Yeah.
people in the county, that you all did this, was to eliminate that school zone on
Yeah.
11A. So
Okay.
All right, well,
I
let's,
didn't mean to hold you back on it. I was
All right.
just suggesting,
Well,
let's
let's-
don't get it back where they're pushing to put it back up.
well, let's move forward then. All right, we got a motion and a second, right? All right. Call for the vote, please.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Counterman.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Mayor?
All right, motion
What-
carried. Glenn?
Did you want to go back to, without walking over there, communications from Mayor, the proclamation?
On the Arbor Day?
Yeah,
I addressed it.
okay.
Yeah. All right. Meeting adjourned.
And then we'll move to executive
And we're going to go
session.
into an executive session